Let's take a closer look at the recommended resources for the Light Comes to Shadow Mountain unit study from Ticket to Learning. None of these resources are required to complete the unit, but some families find that they prefer a more structured science or history spine for their unit, and these are perfect for that. We recommend that you only choose a maximum of 2 of these resources. It'd be way too much if you try to complete them all, but you can choose the resources that work best for your family and your educational goals. Let's start by taking a look at our science resources. The first book that we have is called Light and Optics. This is great for your 7 to 10-year-olds. So if you're working with kids who are on the lower end of the targeted age range, this would be a perfect resource for them. In Light Comes to Shadow Mountain, of course, we're having plenty of conversations about light, but we're also talking some about the eyes and how they see and how light affects our vision. That makes this a perfect addition and a way to dive deeper into science topics. You'll see that this has an introduction and then 5 lessons. Each lesson is presented with plenty of pictures and is broken up with vocabulary words that are called out and described in the boxes beside. The lessons can be used all at once, or they can be broken up into smaller pieces, and many of them include QR codes or additional resources that you can explore as well. When you get to the end of a lesson, you're going to have several pages with different project activities and ideas. You can do as many or as few of these as you want, and make sure to pick the ones that will be most interesting to your students. Our next resource is called Electricity, Circuits, Static, and Electromagnets. Electricity is a huge theme in Light Comes to Shadow Mountain. Cora wants to know everything about it as she strives to bring electricity to Shadow Mountain. This book is perfect for ages 8 to 12, and it includes an introduction along with 6 chapters. Each lesson begins with a little comic strip that kind of sets the kids up for what they're going to be learning. And the lessons include QR codes, images, as well as words to know. You'll also find callouts with additional information like safety first, or this will give you some real-world applications for what you're reading about in the lesson. At the end of each lesson, you'll have several pages that have activities. You can pick and choose which activities you want to do with your child to see in action the things that you're learning about in your lesson. Next, let's take a look at our history resources. We'll start with Nellie and Investigative Journalism for Kids. This is about mighty muckrakers from the Golden Age until today. This book is recommended for kids ages 8 to 12, but I found that it also works well with older kids as well. You'll find that the table of contents is listed by chapter, and then it includes all of the activities that are listed in that chapter as well. So this makes it easy for you to find the hands-on activities that you might want to incorporate with your lessons. This book includes loads of photographs, and the lessons are a little bit longer, so you may decide to break it up into multiple reading sessions. You'll discover all throughout each lesson will have various activities that you can do with your child that are hands-on activities. Some are quick and easy, some take a lot more effort and time to complete. You'll also find some sidebars that give additional information about people, time, circumstances related to what you're reading. This resource makes a great complement to the newspaper writing activities that go throughout the Light Comes to Shadow Mountain unit and can be a great way to look at history from the 1920s until the present. We have 2 resources for the Great Depression. This one's perfect for kids ages 8 to 12, and this one works great for ages 12 to 15. I would recommend this for students who are gifted or have more interest in the Great Depression, or if you want to include older students along with you in the unit study, this is a great option for them. Let's start by taking a look at the Great Depression for kids, Hardship and Hope in the 1930s America. This one is very similar to the Nellie book in that you'll have your table of contents, and your table of contents will list the chapter titles as well as all of the activities listed in that chapter. You have a timeline here at the beginning to give you a little bit more information about what's going on. And each of the lessons includes lots of photographs, as well as call-outs that give you more information about the things you're reading about. And you'll find activities scattered all throughout this book as well for your students to complete as they learn more about the Great Depression. The resource for older children is called The Great Depression: Experience the 1930s from the Dust Bowl to the New Deal. This one includes an introduction and 7 chapters, as well as a timeline. Each lesson begins with a cartoon to make the topic clear and to spark interest for your students as they read. You'll find call-outs on these side columns, things like primary sources. Sometimes there will be QR links and other information. Most of the time, this will include something that has to do with a primary source related to what you're reading. There are images all throughout and key questions for your students to think about as they read. You'll also find vocabulary information on the side columns as well. At the end of each chapter, you have something called Inquire, Investigate. This is intended to give your child an opportunity to think deeply about what they've just read and to apply it in some sort of project, activity, or circumstance. For this age level, a lot of it is writing papers or writing responses, but there are various activities that you'll find in this book. Oftentimes, there are multiple choices, so your child can choose what is the most interesting to them, or you can pick what you think would be best for them to be learning. And often there are QR codes scattered throughout. You can order these recommended resources from our online store. Also, be sure to check in your adventure guide, where we include additional resources for planning and prep and how to utilize these resources to go along with the activities we have for you in the adventure guide. I hope this flip through was helpful, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at support@tickettolearning.com.